Hey, I'm Joel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a future bass style saw wave sound, and this is the finished product in Roland Zenology Pro. Alright, so firstly we'll initialize the patch. So to do that, click the name here, make sure all is selected under bank on the left and click initial tone. I'm just going to remove all these effects that I have on the channel as well. So this is what you get when you get an initial tone here. I'm just going to solo that sound. Just the default piano sound. Then we're going to change that to a saw wave, which it defaults to here. We're going to add the second partial in and make sure OSC is selected here so we can see all four oscillators for the different partials here. So we're going to change that one to a saw wave as well. And we're going to change the third one here to a noise generator. So some of the volumes might be a bit messed up. And we can see at the top straight away it's peaking. So we're going to turn the master volume down. We're also going to turn the pitch of partial 2 up 1 octave. 12 semitones. With this one, there's quite a lot of content going on because we're going to put it in unison, add a bunch of voices. So we'll just go menu and then voice limit light. Make sure that's selected. I think it defaults to middle, but that means it's not going to limit the amount of voices. The CPU usage can go pretty high here. I think. So even just that, it's almost hitting 20% CPU usage in Ableton. So yeah, there are 3 sounds. So we've got the default saw, and then the one up an octave, and then the noise generator too. So straight away we'll turn that noise generator down a little bit, and we'll listen to all 3 of them together and get the balance right. It's probably about all we need there. We're just going to change the attack on these. You can use this with sidechain as well. I've actually got both on in that demo, but what we'll do, because usually these sounds, they kind of hit when the kick hits, so if you use the attack and a sidechain, it can double up, or you can just use one or the other, but I kind of like having a little bit of attack. So we'll increase the attack here by about 214, I think it is, something 240, that's close. But there's actually another way we can do this rather than trying to line them all up here, because they all have their own envelope attached to them. So we'll go to Pro Edit, click amp envelope there, and it says T1 attack here, so 242. I think I added about 214, so we'll hit 214, enter, and then partial 2, 214, enter, partial 3, 214, enter. So that's the numerical value attached to the attack envelope. So if we go back to Visual Edit, we can see what it's done there. So now when we listen to it, nice, it's coming along. So now we'll add some unison. So hit unison here, and then bring the unison size up to 7. This can get a bit loud, so be careful. Just going to play around with the detune. There you go, early 20s is kind of nice. And we'll bring in a little bit of analog feel onto it as well. Just a little bit goes a long way, I think. And in the Master Effects section down here, make sure MFX is selected. And then down here, where it says Through, we'll change it to Filter, and we'll go Enhancer. And straight away, you'll be able to hear the difference. We'll bring in, so without it, sorry. And with it. We're just going to change the sensitivity level. I think we should have it nice and full, so that way when we reduce the cutoff here, the master cutoff, it's not going to do anything above 12 o'clock, because at 12 o'clock the filter's fully open. So we'll just leave it like that. Play around with the mix here if we want. you go. That's sounding pretty nice and bright. So that's pretty much it for the sound design. So we're going to go and add a quick little EQ here. So all I've done here is I took out everything below 80 hertz. I've cut out 200 hertz there because it's a pretty nasty frequency. Then I've boosted around the 2.15 kilohertz region. So without that boost. With the boost. You can play around with that. There you go. Probably sounds a bit better up there actually. And then I'm just adding a little chorus on the end. I've got it on negative polarity. Brought the feedback down, the dry wet, and it's at 0.03 hertz. So it's really subtle, but it just had some width. So without it. Now with it. Then I've added a little reverb. I just used the preset in Ableton, so reverb, hall, ballad reverb. I just played around with the decay time a little bit and the dry wet. And then a bit of compression, just use the glue compressor, pretty slow attack, a little bit faster release, leave the ratio on 4 and just bring the threshold down a little bit until it's just sort of catching the sort of peaks, and then bring the makeup volume a little bit, so without the glue compressor. Now with it. That sounds really nice. And then just sidechain it to the kick. By the way, I mentioned it before, but I've actually got these chords sort of syncing up. You can see the kick along here. I've got these chords syncing up with the kick. So the attack from the chords is linking up with the kick. And then I've just added a sidechain compressor onto the kick with really short attack, pretty short release, and just bring the threshold down to get the flavor that I like. And then I've done the same with the snare. It's a little bit more subtle on the snare, but just a little bit of movement. And the reason I took the lows out is because it can get a little bit muddy and we want that nice clean sub sound underneath. So what I've done is I've just opened up another instance of Zenology Pro, and I've just picked the MC202 bass under PCM here. On the right hand side, bass, synth bass, and I just picked that one there. It just sounded nice, and all that is by itself is this. And I just gave it a little bit more volume, cut all the frequencies above 80 hertz, so we've just got that sub, even without that EQ. But because this big feature bass saw is taking up most of the high frequency, I've just put this low frequency part of it just as a nice clean sub bass. And the same thing, I've just sidechained it to the kick and to the snare. And there you go. That's the sounds. So that's how you make a future bass saw sound in Zenology Pro by Roland. Thanks for watching.